Hello, welcome to this full moon in Virgo with a total lunar eclipse. So we are gathering under this full moon and our energy is amplified by this total lunar eclipse. So it's not an ordinary full moon, it's got this extra special edge to it. So think about it. Last night I noticed that the moon felt quite brilliant and bright. It was like this spotlight, even though it wasn't quite full. But tonight we have this experience of the moon going through a shadow that, almost dilutes its illumination. So the eclipse will kind of interrupt the normal flow of that moon cycle of light. All right, but before we get into all of that, so we are being in our ritual for the full moon, let's just prepare ourselves, center ourselves, make sure you've got both of your feet nicely on the ground, remembering that Virgo is an earth sign. It is about being in the body, and it's about coming into almost the sacredness of tending to what is real in our lives. So just take in 3 slow breaths, slowing it all down, letting anything else that we've brought with us, just let it go. Just drop it all down, let it sink into the ground as we take some breaths. So just breathing in and breathe out slowly through your mouth. And then in your own time, just take 2 more breaths. Slowly out through your mouth. And then the final one. Right. So let's see what we are here to refine and reframe today. So as I've already mentioned, this is a bit of a different energy because a regular full moon, because it is the fullness of this reflected light from the sun, brings quite a lot of brightness into the night. And this is like a spotlight that allows things to come up to the surface. Now, with a total lunar eclipse, this is a little bit different. It's a little bit more subtle. If you are in a place where you are getting the full effects of this total lunar eclipse, the filter is actually going to be red. We're actually going to have a red full moon. So this, is going to bring some subtleness. What does red mean to you? This is potentially what might be illumination. So the moon is moving through the Earth's shadow, and it changes the way that we see its light. So because this is going through Virgo, this means that there's going to be a change, a little bit of an interruption to the brightness. But Virgo is still about things like systems, about developing your craft, developing, I suppose, your gifts almost. The devotion that you bring into the things that are important in your life, as well as the daily structures of your life. This is earth energy. And the earth also brings this sense of integrity. So for Virgo, it's like the integrity within the details, often called nitpicking. So overall, Virgo is really about service, but not self-sacrificing service. This is service to what lights you up and what feels bright and amazing in your life. So this eclipse is not bringing you this energy of needing to purge things totally out of your life. It's more about this subtle energy saying, where have I had misalignment within my life? So this real subtle looking at how things are going. So where have you been trying to manage things or over-manage things that really just need some refining? We'll come back to that. So at the time of this full moon eclipse, the moon is sitting in gate 64, which is often described as confusion. This is, for those people who are not very familiar with human design, this is like in the head center, the head chakra, essentially. And it is like being filled with all of the potential questions. What about this? What about that? That can feel very confusing. But allowing that to sift through forms the pattern that sits behind that. So in particular, the moon will go through line 1 in gate 64, and this is setting the foundation before it moves through the rest of the lines and gradually building into understanding this whole puzzle rather than this confusion. So what do you need to stabilize first? This isn't about going, oh, I've got to fix everything. What's the foundation you're coming from? If it's earth energy, it's coming from a place of being grounded. So this is the energy for this moon speaks to basically recalibrating the structures of your life or your business or both. It's not about diving into confusion or feeling lost. It's not about trying to collapse everything. It's not about total reorganization. Now, hopefully you brought along your journal. If not, you can, of course, stop the video and go and grab one. We are going to be doing a bit of reflection. So once you've got your journal, right up at the top, where am I feeling some kind of subtle confusion or perhaps subtle pressure? And we're just going to sit with that a little bit. Just let it be. Let it be like part of our life, part of our identity, part of our relationships, part of our direction, or anything else that comes through. So where might you be feeling this confusion or pressure that's quite subtle? Once you've zoned in on something, ask yourself, where am I overcomplicating something that could be quite simple? So gate 64 does have this desire to complicate things as part of the confusion. Where have I just been tolerating something that's not aligned? Even if it feels quite subtle, this is us allowing, it's like leaking our energy out when we just allow those little things that we know are not aligned just to keep going. And then where are you feeling the spotlight of the moon? Maybe this awareness started to come through in the last few nights. I was starting to feel a bit exposed. Okay, so if you need some time, just pause the video and do the reflection. Okay, now hopefully you have got a list of some things to think about. And I just want you to choose one. Just circle one thing that at this point in time under this moon seems most important. Virgo likes to work through one thing at a time fully. So choose something that you can actually decide how to become more aligned with and maybe just simplify something. Now, if you are building something like a business, a body of work, something creative, then we're going to go a little bit deeper into what that might be about. So this is like the next layer. So we all have something that we're involved with in terms of creating, bringing into the world. So start to think about, where am I trying to force clarity before it's ready to be revealed, bringing on confusion? is there a particular pattern that keeps on showing up in the work that you're doing, the work that I'm doing? So you can also ask yourself, where am I trying to resolve the whole thing rather than just one foundational thing? And where is this energy of visibility asking me to go back in and refine rather than trying to leap into expansion? So the eclipse energy will help us to reposition things. So sometimes what feels like the spotlight of the moon is actually showing us that this is the path of alignment. And sometimes what feels, ooh, really, I don't want to keep this hidden, I don't want this exposed, is actually showing us the pathway of correction. So once again, pause the video, write down your thoughts and ideas around one foundational structure that you've identified that might need refinement within the area of work, business, creativity. Now, I'm not sure where you've gone, but if you're getting a little bit stuck, these could be some things that perhaps you thought about. What about your daily rhythm? What about your clarity or lack of clarity around your offers? What about the boundaries you're setting up in your business or work or whatever it is? What about your energy? Are you managing that? Are your prices in integrity with your values? And when you show up, does it feel like it's you speaking or you taking on the words and tone of someone else? So it could be something entirely different. This is a personalized thing, but whatever it is, just keep it fairly simple. So if you still need some thinking time, just pause again and then come back when you're ready to keep going. All right, so as I said, try and keep whatever this is fairly simple. Make sure that it is very grounded, very concrete, very foundational, structural, because this is the earth energy of Virgo. All right, so now with this eclipse time, it's a beautiful time to actually release things and refine things. So in your journal, I just want you to write down, I release the pressure to resolve everything at once. In fact, it might be useful to say that out aloud. Some of you might have more of a struggle with this than others, but recognize if that's one of your patterns and just release it. This is the perfect time to just let that go. And now write down, I allow refinement to just be enough. So Virgo wants to work through that steady devotion, not trying to force and push through. Now, if you've got a candle available, it would be great just to light it at this time, representing the illumination that we have coming through. If you don't have a candle, then you can just place your hand on your heart. If you want to actually set up an entire ritual space, which is what I like to do at the full moon, maybe burn some incense, clear out the energy in your space, and maybe your favorite crystal or crystals, and a candle. And because this is Virgo energy, this is earth energy, choose an earthy kind of candle. All right, so you can set that up and use that to finish our time together. So hand on your heart, though, if you don't have the candle, and say, I honor confusion as the growth point for my clarity. I stabilize my foundation and I refine things gently. And then I stand and step forward in clean alignment. So you can write that down if that resonates with you, and perhaps do a little bit of repeating, maybe put it into an I kind of statement. So I honor confusion as the soil of clarity. I stabilize my foundation. I refine gently, and then I stand and step forward in clean alignment. So when I say that, I can feel in my body this lightness, this softness, this, yes, that's correct. So notice what your body's saying. If it's not feeling sort of that grounded, settled kind of energy, then perhaps go back through and think about, where are you maybe still feeling confusion? Where do you need to perhaps zero in on something rather than expanding out? So this is what Virgo can bring. So before an eclipse, the moon is definitely bright. But during the eclipse, the moon is passing through shadow, and then she will emerge, re-emerge. So in the next little while, say now, or even half an hour later or so, if you are watching this right at the full moon, you might notice this change in the energy, how at the moment it feels a bit more subtle, and then all of a sudden you kind of have this big spotlight that will bring you awareness. Or on the other hand, you might actually feel more quiet and more settled, because an eclipse can be a feeling of, disruption, of things being out of sync. So just feel into that energy as this eclipse passes through, or the moon passes through the eclipse energy, that shadow energy. And then, really think about, who am I now as I step forward into the next few weeks? What am I being called to crystallize, particularly in terms of my identity? What am I being asked to focus on more precisely? And over and above all, think about the foundation that you need. So the foundation I'm stabilizing now is what specifically? Speaking this out loud can really feel like it's a release within your body as well. If you feel like you need more groundedness, give yourself a hug. There's that idea of connection. While your feet are on the ground, while you've got, some crystals or candle or whatever around, just feel into your body and allow it to relax, so that you know that your energy is allowing this full moon eclipse to just kind of move through you. So, this is an eclipse that is not about dramatic change. Some of them are. This is about just subtly identifying and correcting things. And if you're feeling confusion at the moment, that doesn't say that you've lost your way. It's just saying that something deeper and larger and bigger is actually percolating, ready to emerge soon. So remember, Virgo brings us refinement. The eclipse gives us a chance to sort of reposition things in our life. And gate 64 allows us to reorganize things out of confusion. So decide on your foundation, focus on that, trust that's the right thing to do, and then just allow the next thing to unfold in its own time. All right, let's take one final deep breath. So once again, feet on the ground, on the floor. As you're breathing out, just really allow any confusion to drift away and carry this forward into the coming cycle as we move towards the new moon.